Oh, boy, it must be difficult to work at the Washington Post, or subscribe to the Washington Post, or even advertise with the Washington Post without feeling profound embarrassment. And its editor's attempt last week to attack Donald Trump over his claim that the most violent cities in America are run by Democrats is a perfect example of the problem the so-called newspaper staff members have getting around their own collectivist bias. Hi everyone, I'm Gardner Goldsmith for MRC TV. Well, on June 25th, the WaPo offered what its editors seemed to have thought was a potent attack on Donald Trump. The piece was an analysis by Philip Bump titled, "Trump Keeps Claiming the Most Dangerous Cities in America Are Run by Democrats." They aren't. But for the WaPo, the trouble is that this debunking actually confirmed President Trump's June 24th observation that the most dangerous cities in America are, in fact, run by Democrat politicians. Indeed, the net result of this WaPo debunking is that Americans now have a chart created by the newspaper's graphics team that not only confirms almost everything Trump said, but that we can also see the kinds of fudging and mental gymnastics leftists at the WaPo employ to distract from that confirmed point. It's a point worth repeating. Democrat-run cities are the most dangerous in the nation. Now, to his credit, Mr. Bump goes to great lengths to cite Trump's June 24th statement, which the president offered at a White House event. Quote, "You hear about certain places like Chicago, and you hear about what's going on in Detroit and other cities, all Democrat run," he said. "Every one of them is Democrat run. 20 out of 20, the 20 worst, the 20 most dangerous are Democrat run." And to his credit, Bump calls out El Presidente because it's not 20 out of 20 anymore. For the past 4 years, one of them has been run by a Republican mayor, the city being Jacksonville, Florida, under Mayor Lenny Curry, who was elected in 2015 and then re-elected in 2017 and 2019. Now, prior to Curry, Democrat Alvin Brown held the spot in Jacksonville, and prior to Brown, there were 4 Democrats, 3 Republicans, and 1 mayor who switched parties. That was for all the years going back to when the office was what they call consolidated with Duval County in 1968. Prior to that, going all the way back to 1865, there have been a total of 6 Republicans who have held the Jacksonville mayor position for 1 or more terms. So, Donald Trump is technically incorrect when stating that all 20 of the most violent U.S. cities are run by Democrats. But that wasn't the point of Mr. Trump's comment, which was simple and, save for the lone city of Jacksonville, Florida, was correct, contrary to the WaPo headline. In fact, in 2018, the American thinker's Rich Logus noted that 19 of the 20 most violent cities in the U.S. were run by Democrats. Yet the Post's Bump burns over 1,000 words trying to hem and haw and come up with qualifications that have no bearing on the overall unshakable fact in front of us. He's like a kid trying a magic trick when he lacks the skills and talent, and he attempts to discount this problem, claiming that, well, of course these cities are violent because, well, they're cities. Here's what he said. "Cities generally have more crime than suburban and rural areas. That's been true for decades, if not centuries, and it's true across the planet. The connection has been the focus of repeated research. In other words, if it were the case that cities were also more prone to elect members of one party over another, it might seem as though the most crime-riddled places in America were a function of leadership from that party." And shocked, then he focuses on the fact that the cities tend to be run by Democrats. You are certainly aware that cities tend to be heavily Democratic. In the 2018 House elections, Democrats won every district identified by CityLab as being purely urban. They lost only one district identified as urban-suburban mix. In other words, Democrats won 81 of the 82 congressional districts identified as fully or partially urban. which does nothing to discount Trump's overall point. In fact, it merely strengthens one's understanding that the most violent cities in the U.S. are run by Democrats. Los Angeles, Detroit, New York, Washington, D.C., Baltimore, and Chicago, complete with their insane gun restrictions that haven't stopped criminally minded people from obtaining and using firearms, their abysmal government-run schools, and tax and regulatory schemes that have smothered independent businesses and driven more people into black market lines of work. No amount of Washington Post shading can change this clear, obvious, long-standing fact. One need not be a devotee of Trump's policies to acknowledge this overall point is correct. And while there may be many causative factors that are endemic to cities being more violent than non-urban areas, the facts remain that for the top 20 violent cities in the U.S., 19 of them are run and have been run on the whole for many, many years by Democrats. Now, of course, thanks to the chart that the Washington Post conveniently put together based on the FBI stats, it's obvious that this is the case. And it's obvious that the editorial team at the so-called newspaper are now so politicized they've become disconnected from the content of their own articles. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Hit the little bell because it's supposed to tell you when new videos pop up. And we'll see you in the comments section. I'll write back and forth to you. I really like getting your feedback. It's really terrific. Please, if you get the opportunity, tell your friends about these videos, share them with people, and head over to mrctv.org to find out everything the team is working on. We'll see you in Facebook. And don't forget, if you want some great MRC fashions and swag, it's MRC-store. MRC-store. For MRC TV, I'm Gardner Goldsmith.